It's Geek Boy. It is Geek Boy, and I'm coming to you almost live from the Ultra Secret Secure Fan Cave. It's a little bitty announcement for all of our followers out there. First of all, we want to say thank you, every one of you that follows us, that likes our page, that watches our videos. We are humbled by what you do, and we ask one thing: if you do like our content, if you like what we present, if you like the things that we put up every day, be sure you like us on Facebook, follow us, like our videos, share them when you can. Also, we are on several other platforms. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. We have recently created a Twitch account that is in the process of growing, so our presence there is getting bigger. So, again, if that's your favorite platform, you can follow us on there. Lastly, as you all have heard us talk about before, we do have a YouTube page, and that's kind of what I want to talk about just really quick. YouTube has recently made some changes to its terms and conditions. They made one set here at the back half of 2019. I understand there's another set coming in January of 2020. So, again, if you like us, if you want to follow us on YouTube, if you want to see that presence grow, check the YouTube page. Make sure you're still subscribed, like those videos, and share them when you can as you do on Facebook, and mash that bell so you get notifications when new content comes out. So again, I want to send a shout out to all of our nearly 500 followers. Our goal is 1,000 by 2020, and we just thank you guys for what you've done. This is Geek Boy signing off. It's Geek Boy, and we are here once again celebrating the 40th anniversary of movies we love or just like. And because here we are, it's 40 years ago this year that Moonraker opened, the Bond movie that promised the moon and maybe somewhat delivered. And I'm here with IT Geek here, and we're joined with
Star Girl.
And we're going to take a deep dive into one of the most beloved and most hated Bond movies of all time.
No.
Which
For
is
View to Kill and...
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean,
Timothy Dalton's...
View to Kill, I mean, to this day, I don't care what Bond movie comes out, Timothy Dalton's View to Kill is the worst.
You mean License to Kill?
License to Kill. Sorry.
View to Kill and License to Kill are both the same.
So
they're both.
Okay, so I think for our younger fans, we need to provide some perspective on all this. So the Bond franchise, and I know, and by the way, we're going to do a deep dive into the Bond franchise leading up to the opening of No Time to Die, which opens, I believe, in April. Yes. April 2020. And we're going to try to work
the
out.
the last Daniel Craig.
The very last Daniel Craig.
Which I mean, to this day, Sean Connery was always my top Bond.
Oh yeah.
But I really think Daniel Craig has really given him a great run for his money, especially with Casino Royale. I mean, to me, Daniel Craig gave so much action just to a series of, or to the Texas Hold'em game. I mean, how can a poker game have so much action?
I don't know, and I agree with you on that.
To me, it's phenomenal. And I am a poker player, and I love Texas Hold'em, so to see that was very, very exciting for me. And so at that point, that's when Daniel Craig became my Bond.
Oh wow!
Okay, I was gonna say, Pierce Brosnan, he always gets the bad rap, but I think
I love Brosnan.
No, I love
Brosnan.
Timothy Dalton.
Timothy Dalton was the worst.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I agree with that.
And it was like we had Timothy Dalton, and he did play pretty close to the books. But
We tried to.
And then we got Pierce. And Pierce was come on, he's Remington Steele. He was.
Well,
and so he was pretty close to the Sean Connery, Roger Moore, yes, for Your Eyes Only. I mean, that's my
Okay, we're talking about Moonraker.
I know, but that's my
we're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there.
I love.
What fanboys not when they have little means that we didn't take the long route to get to
I understand. And I totally get it.
So, Roger Moore, he's not been the poster boy for
R.I.P.
Yeah. He's not the poster boy for James Bond, but we got, you got Pierce, and now you got Daniel Craig, and Daniel Craig is closer to the book,
Yes, he is.
books, than even,
Well, I would say that of all the actors on screen, he is the only one that has actually managed to capture the Bond from the books on the screen. Now,
James Bond?
Okay, with that one exception. I would say Timothy Dalton was going for that, but whatever reason, it didn't work out.
Didn't have the chops.
Well, I don't know if it's the chops or the scripts or whatever, but as much as I love The Living Daylights, License to Kill was terrible. It was a terrible film. Which brings us back to Roger Moore. And so I want to kind of give a little bit.
Wasn't he the longest running James Bond?
Yes.
He was. And I'm glad you said that because, as I said, we're going to take a deep dive into the Bond series as a whole as we get closer to No Time to Die. But I want to kind of give a little perspective on this because we're going to talk a lot of negative stuff about Moonraker, I'm sure, as it goes, because it's not aged well. Okay, but I want to give a little perspective to our younger fans. The Bond series as a whole was in a really weird place in the early 70s. I mean, the Cold War was still going on, but people had gotten jaded with authority figures and whatnot, and so they lost Sean Connery, who was Bond for an entire generation of people. They tried with George Lazenby. They tried a complete series reboot with George Lazenby. It didn't quite work, which did end up working with Daniel Craig so many years later, but he didn't work out.
Well, I mean, you gotta also think that the agent actually kind of steered him wrong.
Right. Yes.
So if you're gonna
Exactly.
you didn't really know his agent.
That's exactly right. And so when he wasn't available, the Bond series as a whole, they looked at it as, is Bond even so relevant in the 70s? But it was this whole distrust of authority figures and whatnot. So they tried to, instead of setting trends like they'd done with all the films before, they started chasing trends. They started incorporating the Southern fried humor with various and sundry things and the blaxploitation things with Live and Let Die. And so the Roger Moore films were never really their own thing until The Spy Who Loved Me. I think that's the first movie where they let Roger Moore be Roger Moore as Bond. And that movie was freaking amazing. They spent twice as much money on that movie as they had before, but it made 3 times the amount of money as they had before. So they're like, okay, but now Cubby Broccoli was always pretty distinctive. He thought, okay, we've been this much ridiculous. If you look at the Bond films, they kind of have like an escalating arms race of ridiculousness. And then once they get to a certain point, they're like, okay, we need to pull back. Yeah. And so they got The Spy Who Loved Me, and they're like, okay, we need to pull back because if you look at the end of credits. The next movie in The Spy Who Loved Me is For Your Eyes Only. But yet, the next movie that comes out is Moonraker. And so, what happened between 77 and 79? Star Wars. Yeah. And so, like, whoa, science fiction is bankable. So,
here comes that space cheddar.
That space cheddar, that's right. So, like, every student, not just UA, but every student goes looking around going, what do we got? What do we got? Paramount's like,
what can we say?
Don't we have part of Paramount's like, don't we have that Star Trek thing that we can do? So they're flaring around with that, and UA's like, we got Moonraker. And how?
Well, no, we got James Bond.
We need
James Bond in space.
Well, as Providence would have it, the only Bond film at that time, or the only Bond novel at that time that had not been adapted was Moonraker. I mean, Octopus, Your Eyes, so they were all short stories. I mean,
right.
The only full Bond novel left was Moonraker, and how they respond to that with a movie that's nothing like the novel that they had to respond to.
I love the title. I love
Moonraker. It's amazing. Moon in space. That's where we need to go. Moonraker. Yeah. Moonraker. And I think that, so before we go any further, I love the person. Sir Roger Moore.
Oh, yeah. He's a nice guy.
He's a great guy. He's a charitable man. He's a very generous man with his time and his heart. And he never lost the perspective of, wow, playing James Bond makes me get to lay around with beautiful women and go around the world and have a vacation.
Some people wouldn't even realize that when he took over the role, he was actually older than Sean Connery.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, this was not an actor that like, well, Sean Connery's getting up in ages, so we need a younger person to come in and play this James Bond.
The thing with Sean Connery was he decided he wasn't going to play Bond anymore when they were having him swim with sharks.
Thunderball. Getting back to Moonraker, I would posit that everything that is right and wrong with Moonraker occurs in the opening pre-credit sequence. I mean, you've got a space shuttle, being traversed on the transatlantic on the back of a 747. It's fantastic. It's fully fueled. I mean, really, you're gonna ignite the jets? Could the 747 even take off? Okay, whatever. Then you have Bond getting pushed out of a plane without a parachute. So
I thought was a great story.
Oh my God!
When I saw that, I'm like, holy crap!
So you say that. So I was watching a commentary, and keep in mind, these movies were made in the 70s for a cinematic experience. They weren't. They could not even.
There was no CGI.
Right.
Well, this was actual stuntmen with trying to hide their
parachutes
within the clothes to make you believe that you were not. They were jumping without parachutes.
That and the fact that they did not make this for a VHS, Blu-ray.
Right. No.
They were making this for cinematic experience.
They were making it for the movie and the movie only.
They had no idea they were going to be watching this thing frame by frame. They were watching this. So I've heard people that saw Moonraker in the theater, and they said when Bond gets pushed out of that plane without a parachute, the whole theater went, I mean, they gasped. And that is a fantastic sequence, apart from a couple of wonky edits now with 92-inch screens. Yeah, I know. That skydiving footage is amazing. I want to say this. BJ Worth, I believe, is the guy's name. Those guys made 88 jumps to capture 3 seconds of film each time.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, they made 88 jumps total. So keep in mind, they had experimental parachutes underneath clothing that would break apart. Now, here's the other thing. The skydiver who had the helmet cam, at this time, Panavision lenses were made out of glass and steel, so they had to make a special Panavision lens out of plastic that would not break his neck. And the first time he did it, he was like, whoa. So he had to wrap his parachute and then wrap a rope around his parachute so it would deploy slowly so it didn't break his neck. He did this not once, he did this 88 times. They did 88 jumps to capture all that footage from the Moonraker parachute footage. You can't argue with that, but yet then we have Jaws trying to fly with his hand, and the circus. Everything right and wrong with Moonraker is in the
They had a hard on for circuses.
They did.
So I think when I think of James Bond, I'm sorry, one of the most iconic villains is Jaws.
Yes.
I mean, any segment that Jaws is in, other than that one, where he's, it's just But I mean,
I laugh right here. Pisses me off because he's iconic.
He's iconic. I mean, there's no way you can tell me that when you think of James Bond, I'm sorry when I say this. I mean, maybe younger people don't realize the character in Jaws as much as we do. But if I say James Bond and I say Jaws, you know exactly. And all that stuff. I mean,
big guy.
I mean, you see James Bond throw punches and he just like scuffs it off.
Well, and that's what the problem with the stunt footage is he's 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Richard Cheadle. The stuntman is not 7 feet tall. It's flying out of that plane like that. So I mean, that's one problem. But yet that sequence is epic.
Oh, it is.
It is tremendously epic, and so
I mean, it's funny. I mean, you think of that character, and he's so vicious. So I mean, he is the villain. And then you have to remember, he's also in Happy Gilmore. He's the foreman of Adam Sandler that has the ball on his
wow, you went.
I'm sorry, we got to talk about it. But I mean, you think of the Jaws character and how, like I said, how vicious he is, and then you have this segment. So to give that character some roundness is the reason why I'm bringing it up is the fact that he's such a great actor in the sense that he has the comedy chops to do Adam Sandler, but
he was very self-aware. Yeah.
Yes.
And so I would think that so moving on to say the title song, they brought Shirley Bassey back, who did such great songs as Goldfinger, and Shirley Bassey kind of felt like I don't think it's one of her better songs. I think she does a good job, but
Right.
I don't know. It's not necessarily bad. It's not necessarily good. It's just there.
Why do you cry? Where is that moonlight train that leads to your side? Just like the moonraker goes in search of his dream of gold. I search for love, for someone to have.
I think science fiction wise, there were some pretty good ideas there with the space shuttle that was getting ready to launch their.
Well, they have that also the Diamonds Are Forever.
Well, yeah, right. Let's not talk about the movie of Diamonds Are Forever. That was pretty bad.
Well, they have that satellite.
They did.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So let's talk about Live Twice with the capturing the space capsule.
Oh, that was a cool scene, though.
It was. Oh no, I like Live Twice. It worked for Live Twice. We've been robbed with 3 really Austin Powers movies. But moving back to Moonraker, right?
Oh, Moonraker. That's
yeah. So, and that's okay because you know what? This is the drunk moon. I'm just gonna own it. This is the drunk Moonraker commentary. So,
1971. Proud.
That's right. That's right. So let's get to the character of Drax himself. I mean, if you read the book of Moonraker, the character of Drax is nothing like the character in Moon. And I think part of that comes with the actor they cast to play him. He's very dry. He's very sort of aloof. The character in the novel is actually more like the villain in Dine of the Day. Very flamboyant. Well, Mr. Bond, he's very flamboyant. Look at these diamonds and all that. I mean, they make no bones about it that they stole the concept of the villain from Night of the Day from the Moonraker film. But
how did they do that?
What happened was there was a reversal of tax credits and whatnot so they had to film Moonraker in France primarily. Okay, and so they had a French crew. They had a French crew that didn't really want to work overtime, but when they saw Ken Adams' brilliant designs for the sets, they were like, "We'll work overtime. Our families going to do all this." Yeah, it was crazy. So they did all that, but Michael Lonsdale, who played Drax, played him very stoically. And when Turtle Gal and I watched this the other night, I'm like, was Drax supposed to be a Spectre agent?
Oh wow!
And because because there's a scene where he's on the phone one hand, he's a replacement crew, and he's like talking to someone above him.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, because we have to kind of deviate a little bit. Remember that during this time there was a huge debate. Well, not even debate. Literally a legal battle on who can use Spectre in the James Bond movie. So it was Broccoli who was doing the films, but it was the family. Is that right? The family.
There was another family that owned the rights to Spectre.
Yeah. And so they were like, you cannot use Spectre in any of your movies because we own this. And so there was a huge legal battle. I mean, literally up to the point of Daniel Craig with Spectre coming out that it did not get settled.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there was a lot of elements that always were reference to Spectre,
like no judge, wink, wink. Like, did you think that the baby, like he was on the phone talking to or supposed to be talking to Bloodhound?
It was always that kind of like inferred. It's like Spectre was supposed to be the big bad of the world.
Right.
It's like no serious terrorist activity went down without Spectre approval.
Because as I understand, the early draft, Spike Who Loved Me, the villain was supposed to be Blofeld or a Spectre agent.
But they couldn't use Blofeld because of that legal battle. I mean,
I was gonna say, how many legal battles have we had between all of our movies? I mean,
my God, it's ridiculous.
Wow. I think that's a podcast in itself.
I agree. Intellectual property. Apparently, we think we understand intellectual property, but we really don't understand intellectual property.
Well, I mean, you think about it as Never Say Never. I mean, that's that's another James Bond movie, but it's not a James Bond movie. I mean, it was technically Sean Connery's last Bond movie.
I disagree.
Even though it's not technically a Bond movie.
Right.
So I digress again. That is not Moonraker, which is what we're speaking about tonight.
What about Moonraker?
Well, wait, have you heard about the movie Moonraker?
I have. And here's the thing. I saw Moonraker for the first time the other night.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Congratulations.
Seriously.
Who's that actor who plays James Bond?
Roger Moore.
Roger Moore.
We were watching that when he encounters the character of Holly Goodhead, which, by the way, is a very Fleming name. Holly Goodhead.
That is true. Those names, I just can't believe
it. Get more Fleming than Holly Goodhead.
I mean, I'm gonna deviate a little. I'm gonna deviate a little bit.
It was Fleming. This was when they made up.
Well, if you think about the Austin Powers, I mean, who better spoof the names from James Bond?
A lot of vagina.
I'm just saying. The names that they come up with.
And I apologize to all our followers, but what better movie to review drunk? Okay, so.
Well, I'm sorry, James Bond himself.
Yeah.
Because the names alone are just comedic value like no other. I mean,
but so he's like, but no, he's like when he's I'm gonna be Dr. Goodhead. She turned around like a woman. It's like really, come on, dude. It's 1979. Come on. I mean, and then later when he goes to her, he does something where he's breaking into something. And he opens like a cigarette case or something. And, I was like, was it cigarettes or like, who smokes now?
Everybody still did it in '79.
Really? Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was gonna say it wasn't until like the mid '80s that we were like, oh, cigarette smoking is bad.
That's when we did straight drinking and like I'll have a best friend.
Yes, I'll have a best friend.
No, but
they will knock you on your ass quick.
Yes, they will. And I can't imagine a better tone for a Moonraker review than this. So anyway. Like I said, Moonraker, there were some serious things about Moonraker that really worked, like the investigation side, when he's
when he's going through the glass.
The glass factory.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great.
And how he found the blueprints for the glass factory.
Yes, that's good.
There's good writing, there's good storytelling in that, and I guess I don't want to say problem is that. Everything that's good about Moonraker, there's an equal bad.
Yes, it's like the gondola scene.
Oh my God!
It's so
my heart.
I'm sorry, man. But at the first the gondola scene, I'm like, okay, I'm on board with this. And then when it turns into the hovercraft and the pigeon, I'm like, oh shit, really? I'm like,
well, and not only that, but when the casket, like they hit the top of the gondola or the bridge, and the casket goes into the water, it's like. seriously?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no comedic value to that.
Well, I think what we're looking at is the action scenes, the danger of them are undercut by the humor.
Yes.
Like when the pigeon does the double take, and he's like, it's like, well, and Roger Morgan talks about they only had 5 of those when he was in the water and he had to turn the gondola into the hovercraft and come up. It turned over. It kept turning over.
Oh, really?
Yes. So he tried to do it. It kept topping over on him. And he's like, they had 5 suits that he was in. So every time he would tip over, he would come over and they'd dry him off, put him in. It's like the 5th take, it worked.
Oh,
and
wow.
he's like, so it's like, I was praying to God it wouldn't work. We'd do something else. But he's driving through and doing all this stuff. But it was like, it was like I was on board with the gondola until it turns into the hovercraft.
Right.
And there's just so much comedy that undercuts the danger of the action.
I don't know, because the hovercraft is part of the bond. He would have. I mean, we got. And granted, they add to it, but even in The Spy Who Loved Me,
with the car that turns into a submarine.
Yeah. I mean, we've always had the gadgets. So the hover, the gondola turning into the hovercraft doesn't bother me at all. It's more of the, the other guys.
The pigeon double take,
the casket falling into the water. People doing a double take, like, oh, what?
Or the guy with the bottle of wine.
Yeah, or making sure that his glass was not, am I drinking the right stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yes, when I think of James Bond, and especially Roger Moore, he is always heavy on the gadget interaction.
Right.
He is all, and of course, this is where my love of Q came in.
I love Q very much.
I'm sorry. I mean,
you have to give him the gadget that just happens to be one that he was the watch or the thing that fired the guard and whatnot.
So when that's the thing that when it came down to the movie is that you got to the point with, especially the Roger Moore series, is that you got excited about, okay, what's Q going to do? What's Q going to give him?
The only sequence from the novel that survived the movie was when they put him and Holly Goodhead below the shuttle and they're going to fry them. That was the only sequence from the novel.
Every time you say that.
I know. And so we get to the second act when he goes to the Amazon.
Right.
Okay, in the boat, another great Q gadget.
Gadget.
The boat is another great Q gadget.
Q gadget. That's kind of a hard. That kind of doesn't roll off.
Pretty tough. This is a fanboys on the name. This is definitely a fanboys after dark review. You got Jaws in the boat chase. This kind of gets like a little Wile E. Coyote thing.
What do you ever want to call it?
When he yanks the steering wheel off the boat. I mean, come on, that's Looney Tunes shit right there, man. Goes over the falls.
Hey, Wiley's the bomb, all right?
Okay.
He's in it to win it.
All right.
He's got tiger's blood. He's winning. I'm just saying. That's a throwback right there. Drunk as shit.
So we get to Drax's control room, and I gotta say, man, the model work when the Moonraker shuttle falls. Yes. Because here's the thing, they were timing it to coincide after the space shuttle launch, but NASA ran into problems. No space shuttle had flown at the time the Moonraker's launched, so their model sequence was amazing.
Oh, it was. I mean, to me, I was like, wow, is this actually being filmed in space?
Yeah.
I was like, how did they make this happen? I mean, of course, at the time, what was the year this was moved? 79. So, I mean, you know what? I'm freaking 8 years old. I'm like, oh my God, they're in space.
I was 10.
Yeah. It's so pretty.
So, no space shuttle had flown at the time that Moonraker.
I was going to say, not the space shuttle that we are.
Correct. Yeah.
They were trying to portray.
Right. I mean, this is not a Challenger or
Challenger hasn't
so they looked at Derek Meddings, who had done the model work for Space 1999 UFO. They're like, make this look real. So the guy that did all the work for Thunderbirds and everything else, they tasked him with making a space shuttle look real. I think he did a great job.
Yeah,
he did. Like I said, I was 8 years years old when I saw. Well, not when I saw it, but when this movie came out. But I know it wasn't too long after I'd seen this movie, and I was like, wow, this is what I imagine what space travel would look like. That's what I've always loved about the Bond movies, is in the sense that everything that they've ever portrayed on the movie is like, man, does that really exist?
Well,
is that real?
There's something about the Bond movies that makes them an event.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it was the first franchise ever. I mean, when you think about it, the Bond movies were the first sort of event films. Yeah. I mean, you can divide cinema into two eras. There was post-Star Wars and pre-Star Wars. And the Bond films were the one thing like, oh my god, this is a surefire thing. And
you got to think about it. I mean, if you think of all the genres that have lasted, Bond's got to be the longest.
So moving on to Act 3. Right. So we get into space, and we get to the ridiculous.
Okay, wait a minute. We didn't even talk about Jaws getting a girlfriend.
No, okay.
Well, no, that's kind of towards the end.
No, she wasn't. No, because he found her in...
With the ponytails and everything.
Yeah, but that was
we can talk about that now. So, in my respect, that was one of Moonraker's biggest mistakes, was giving Jaws a girlfriend and making it good. Jaws was awesome. Don't give him a girlfriend and make it good.
Need a humane.
I don't care about that shit. Jaws was a bad...
No, that's exactly why. It's like, he is a villain. He was James Bond's Moriarty.
Okay.
And,
no, he was not his Moriarty.
Okay.
Well, okay, I agree with you.
James Bond punch him in the mouth. Oh, James, how smart was that?
You're correct. There's not a bad way. You're correct. I'm sorry. You boys got me on that one.
Yeah.
When was the first time James Bond met with Jaws?
Spy Who Loved Me, previous movie. And he was so well received, they got a ton of fans going, oh god, why didn't they make him a good guy? Because he was a bad guy. And it wasn't until I got older and realized, what the hell is going on?
Funny, like a lot of our movies that we were like, when we were younger, we were like, oh, this is great. And then we go and like,
which, to me, okay, so let's posit this. Moonraker brought a lot of young fans like you and me and myself into the Bond fold.
Right.
I could have cared less about James Bond. That was something my parents watched, when he came on ABC. But now I was interested in it, and now I'm interested in it from now on.
I see this as that James Bond has become the epitome of, or the baseline, gateway, whatever you want to call it, of what current spy movies try to aspire to do.
Oh, absolutely.
And they recognize that, like, if we're going to do this, we can't just do what James Bond did. We've got to add science into it. We've got to add physics into it. We've got to make it more believable. Moonraker, though, is a spy movie. And there's a great element to it. There are some downside elements to it. But it is another kind of a gateway to what current spy movies either try to aspire to do or exceed to do, and make it more believable. Yeah, like we've said throughout pretty much the whole podcast, is that for every good element in Moonraker, there's a bad element. And it doesn't mean that Roger Moore was poor or great, or the story was poor and great. It is an enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
There are aspects of it that, with today's logic and knowledge of like how physics and stuff works, it makes it a little hard to believe. But back when it was released, and what any movie is today, it is supposed to be an escapism into a world.
Let's not forget, it was the highest grossing Bond film until GoldenEye.
Exactly.
I mean,
and again, GoldenEye, that is not a Roger Moore movie.
No, Pierce Brosnan. It was like 20 years later.
So we got Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan. So I mean, think of that stretch of actors before that.
And
so
to bring Moonraker a little more relevancy, when those shuttle doors opened and those guys come out, all I can think of is Space Force.